Our one-hour special on the life of one of our greatest American heroes starts right now. The movie American Sniper focuses on the life and legacy of one true great American hero. Joining me now are some of the people that knew Chris Kyle and were lucky enough to call him friend. Joining us now is the author of Lone Survivor, former U.S. Navy SEAL Marcus Lutrell, former U.S. Navy Ranger Sean Parnell, and former U.S. Navy SEAL Jason Redman. Guys, good to see you. Marcus, good to see you again. You had a great movie, too. I don't want to, I loved your movie as well. Wish you got an Oscar. This got 6 nods. Thanks for being with us. How well did you know him?
Chris and I came up together in the teams from the basic training, best way to put it, all the way through our whole careers to the time they retired us, and we came back home to Texas.
Yeah, I loved your movie as well. It was pretty fantastic. He has more confirmed kills than any soldier in U.S. history. Did he ever talk to you about it?
In a sense, relatively, I guess, is the best way to put it. I mean, it's not something you talk about. I mean, it's not something we sit around and we talk about this is the number we have down or what happened. I mean, I'm sure there's some times that things go down that bothered us and that you just kind of wanted to get it off your chest. Sure, that happened all the time, but excuse me, not all the time, but every now and again. But for the most part, it's one of those deals where you just kind of put it in the back of your head and push forward.
Do you feel, because I love the movie, as you know, Lone Survivor. I love this movie, too. I assume you saw the movie by now. Do you think it accurately portrays Chris? You think this really captured who he was?
I went and saw it. I came up to New York for the red carpet deal. Mel and I came up there to watch it, and I do. I think it portrayed Chris. I think it captured his spirit. That it could have. I think Bradley did a fantastic job. I think he worked hard. I mean, you saw how he bulked up, and same with Taya. Sienna did a great job with Taya. And I think the most important thing is if the family signed off of it. I mean, care less what I think, but for the most part, I think he did a great job with it.
Yeah. Sean, we're going to talk to Taya, Chris's wife, and Wayne, Chris's dad, later. Sean, tell us what you knew about Chris, your relationship, and what you thought of the film, and do you think it actually portrays him? Because, you know, to have more confirmed kills than any other soldier in history and saving lives in the process, and I think the movie captured that, it's pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Chris in 2012 when American Sniper came out. I met him at a boot campaign charity shooting event. He had read Outlaw Platoon, I had read American Sniper. We both felt like we knew each other for a long time, and we hit it off, and he was just an incredible guy. But, you know, American Sniper, I think the important thing for people to realize and recognize is that it captures the totality of war, not just life on the battlefield for our troops. And for the most part, you know, our journey truly begins when we start coming home. And I think American Sniper captures that. And I think more importantly, I think everybody that's watching this show tonight should seek to make American Sniper the #1 movie in the country, because it's going to educate future Americans on what it's like to be in Iraq and Afghanistan. And more importantly, it's going to show Americans the true heroes that fought there. And Chris Kyle is definitely one of those people.
You know, and Lone Survivor, I think, did the same thing, Marcus, I felt for you. Let me go to you, Jason. How well did you know him, and what do you think? Does this really capture life for the people that are out there in the front lines fighting these wars for us every day?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's essential that movies like this get out there. I think the American people sometimes have a misconstrued view of what happens on the battlefield. I also think sometimes paint some of our warriors as these guys that all they do is thirst to go into battle. And one of the things that I like about American Sniper is it shows the person that Chris was. He was an amazing sniper, he was an amazing warrior, but bigger than that, he was this incredible father and brother and teammate to all of us. And I think the American people need to see that. These are the warriors that are going out there defending the freedom of this country. And they're doing it not only for their country, but bigger than that, they're doing it for their families, and they're doing it for their fellow American citizens.
You know, Marcus, when I talked to Wayne, Chris's dad, and he's coming up in the next segment, and then his wife is coming up, he actually sat down with Bradley Cooper and Clint Eastwood and said, if you dishonor my son, I will open up the gates of hell against you. And I ask you because Lone Survivor.
That sounds about right.
I guess you know Wayne then. By the way, and I loved his dad. I honestly think the world of him. When you had to go through, you went through the process. I actually saw behind the scenes where you were working with Mark Wahlberg. You were on the set of Lone Survivor. Were you feeling the same way that you had to honor those people that died? You were the only guy to come back from that mission. Did you feel that same sense of responsibility?
Absolutely. I mean, you got to understand, 19 of my teammates died, and then 19 families. I mean, we had to make sure that when Lone Survivor was made, that it didn't really matter what I thought. It was whether or not the families gave their blessing and whether or not they signed off on it. That Pete did a good enough job, whether Mark and Ben and all those guys pulled through to bring and to capture the life of each one of those guys who died. And that's, I guess, the sole difference between Lone Survivor and American Sniper is it is about Chris. It is about his family life, and which that obviously wasn't portrayed in Lone Survivor. You go watch Lone Survivor; it's a pure. I mean, it's war. It's on the battlefield. It's people dying. Chris's movie, American Sniper. I mean, it gets into the stuff that Jason talked about, that the family part of it. I mean, I wasn't married, and Mikey he was engaged, and Matt he was married, but that's part of our world that nobody gets into. That we really don't talk about, and American Sniper brings that out and gives you kind of a snapshot of what it's like to be married to a team guy, to go through war. And I think that they did a great job at capturing that part of it.
Jason, what about Hollywood for a minute here? I was a little ticked off when Lone Survivor. I think they deserve some nods. They didn't get it, but we got 6 nominations here. You think maybe Hollywood's waking up to the fact that American people, there's a market and an appetite for real-life heroism? Because that's what this is. I know it's Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, but Americans also want to hear the true stories of real Americans that have protected their freedoms.
Yeah, I mean, that's an essential element of what built this country into what it is. And unfortunately, I think there are some on the left that want to paint our warriors as warmongers, I think they have these ideas that our commandos and some of our military members sit in a dark room at night sharpening a knife praying for war. And that's just not the case. I mean, these guys are heroes because they're willing to step up and stand for something they believe in. I mean, that's what Chris was willing to do, Marcus, Sean, myself, every veteran that's out there. That's true heroism, going out there and having the courage to face something.
And when you go home, and I'll ask Taya later, is it that hard? I mean, in other words, you're in a war zone, you go home, is there a switch you get to flip? I don't think so. I would think that's hard. Here he is having to make life and death decisions, and he's maybe killing kids and women that are about to kill or hurt his troops. Is it that hard as they depicted in the film?
War is a horrible thing, but I do think that most of us have the ability to compartmentalize in those moments. You are focused on the mission. Bigger than that, you're focused on the guys around you, and you make those decisions to accomplish those two things, accomplish the mission and protect your men. And, every mission that I was on, we took out people that deserved to be taken out. They were people that were evil. They were people that would be glad to do harm to Americans.
Yeah.
When you come home, I won't say that you can't put it in a box and just lock it away, but you do your best to manage it, knowing that you were doing it for the right reason and doing it for the right people.
Sean, we'll give you the last word here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, when I was in Afghanistan, I was a regular infantryman. I mean, our job was to close with and destroy the enemy every single day, day in and day out, and we did just that. We held our ground, and we killed 350 bad guys I mean, I don't regret a day of that. But, the real journey for me started when we came home and when I came home, and my men struggle every single day, and I know that Marcus and Jay understand that, but it's a fight that is worth fighting, and we're glad to bear that burden on behalf of America.
All right, guys, appreciate your time. Thank you for what you've done for your country. The movie, I'm telling you, is phenomenal. You're going to be on the edge of your seat the whole time. Appreciate it.